Afternoon, everyone. Sometimes I work on a story for the morning and it just doesn't come together. I'm not happy with it, so I toss it out. And then things happen and I get busy and we get to almost 4 o'clock and I haven't uploaded a video and it feels kind of weird. So I was looking at Maxime. He was up early this morning tweeting, and he said, "Who should you trust? The People's Party of Canada that took a firm stand against the Global Compact weeks ago and has sponsored a petition against it, or the party that first said not a problem because non-binding, and then under pressure called for study and now has done a complete U-turn." And he links to an article, Spencer Fernando, and I like Spencer Fernando, and I'll link to his article as well. And he says, Rempel says conservatives would pull Canada from the UN Global Compact on migration. And he goes through exactly what my video yesterday went through. And everybody's pretty much happy about this. Absolutely everybody. And in my comments on Ms. Rempel's video yesterday, there were some people who were making the same case that a lot of other people were making, that this is Max's victory, despite the fact that the conservatives are trying to claim this as a victory. A lot of people are saying this looks like the conservatives were getting enough pushback on this that they were worried they were going to have Max eat their lunch and take a whole bunch of voters for this issue. And there were a lot of people who were upset about this issue, and I'm glad. Thank you for pushing on this. Everybody who pushed on this, thank you. It matters. It really does. And this is just random Twitter people are all talking about it, but this is Sharon's sister upstairs says it's about bloody time that the CPC HQ opened their traps on it. Thanks, Maxime Bernier, for pressuring them to do it. Is this how it's going to be? Is political pressure from Max the only way this party will adopt conservative positions? Might as well vote for the real thing, PPC. And that's the general consensus, as I was saying on Twitter, in my opinion, about this move after I released my video. And I still think a vast majority of Canadians don't know enough about the Global Compact on migration. And they know that it was bad, but they don't know how bad. And they're starting to pay attention. But when you get into the nitty gritty, when you get past actually talking about opening our borders completely to 250 million migrants, 100 million by 2030, people pay attention to that. But when you get past that, talking about, is 350,000 per year better than 250,000 people per year? And the answer is, absolutely. We need to control our immigration from every channel, right? But the point is, there are so few people who are thinking about it in those terms that it still seems fringe in Canada. It still seems like an uncomfortable conversation, or there are people who think that open borders actually are a human right for some reason. And I understand there's been a push, a media push, a UN push. They're using this language that it's a human right and we shouldn't deny it to anyone, et cetera, et cetera. But flying in the face of all of the evidence of Europe and flying in the face of all of the evidence of France, and I know that France is in Europe, but specifically France, London, there are case studies of big cities that are just tearing themselves apart. What do the tourist numbers look like in Paris this year? How about London, right? Why are we doing that to ourselves when we can see exactly where the path leads? It doesn't make any sense. So thankfully, people are awake enough to look at that. But the yearly migration has been something that has been a part of most adult Canadians' lives as long as they've been alive, right? A lot of the people who are paying attention to this were younger kids in the 80s, right? People who weren't paying attention to this in the 80s, they are paying attention now. But there are a lot of people who are resigned to the number and resigned that they're pretty much going to do what they want. So it's frustrating to tell people how important this is. I'm glad it's gaining traction. I'm glad there's lots of talk about it. It's excellent to see. It's excellent to hear. So back to Max, and my long diatribe is over. Sorry, everyone. Maxime Bernier continues. This is at 6:44 a.m. on the same day, today, November 21st. And he says, Rempel has to follow my lead on the UN's Global Compact for Migration because there is no leadership in the CPC. Too busy analyzing polls and focus group results. And this is in response to another patriotic Canadian saying that Max is already bringing about positive change. Zero chance CPC would have taken this position if not for pressure from Max. Imagine how much better this country will be with a Max-led government in Ottawa. And yeah, So there are a lot of people who are enthusiastic, and my biased Twitter feed is my biased Twitter feed. So I'm sure there are a lot of people who are continuing, and there are people in the comments down below, I'm sure, that are saying that Max is still splitting the party and Trudeau is going to get a large majority. I still think that Trudeau is too far to the left. I think he's gone past where the NDP are comfortable, and the NDP by themselves can't carry a country. They haven't formed federal government, right? And Jack Layton was close, but he didn't get there. And so federal NDP is pie in the sky, and it's not happening with Mr. Jagmeet Singh. It's not happening because he's just not. He doesn't even have the amount of momentum that Maxime has got. Maxime's, and he's dropping lots of conservative stuff, but he's got a direct competitor in the CPC, Maxime, and there's every reason for him to not have a lot of momentum, and yet he does. And there's every reason for Jagmeet to be taking votes from Justin. All you have to do, Jagmeet, is talk about closing our border, and you'll take votes from Justin, but you're not going to do that, strangely. So, closing our border, speaking of, Faith Goldy is holding a rally on... hold on, I can't remember. Saturday at 1. I was gonna say the date, but the 1 o'clock messed me up. Hold on, I'll find out the date for you. So the date is November 24th, and Faith says, Canada is about to sign away our sovereignty to the unelected, unaccountable United Nations. It's a migrant compact. Join me in saying no to the UN control of Canada outside their offices this Saturday at 1. For more information on the National Suicide Pact, here's a YouTube video. And I haven't watched your YouTube video. There's the date, November 24th at 1 to 2, and location 200 Bay Street, Royal Bank Plaza, Toronto. Bring your national flag and nationalist friends. And so I'm glad that Faith is still taking a leadership role despite not winning a mayoral campaign. I'm glad people should be protesting this. I live far enough away from Toronto that driving in on Saturday at 1 is not going to be possible for me, but I hope that there are people there. I hope that there's a presence. This is a terrible compact, and I'm glad that the official opposition is against it, according to their shadow minister. I'm waiting to hear Mr. Scheer talk about it. He hasn't yet, as far as I know. And I'm waiting for Michelle Rempel to elaborate. A lot of people have also said that Michelle Rempel, it was a good start, and now we need to get more. And that's been the sentiment as well. So Max is dragging them to the right, whether they like it or not. And Faith Goldy is going to be a pain in Toronto's Bay Street for the foreseeable future. Thank you, Faith. Continue showing them just how powerful the people can be. And, well, thanks for watching, everybody.